Hey guys, and welcome to this skills video. This short demonstration will tell you the best ways to use knives. Yes, we're going to talk knife skills. So we're going to do some slicing and some dicing and the best ways to do it safely. So follow the instructions carefully and please try not to cut yourself. So first things first, we're going to talk safety. So before we even pick up our knife and use it on a vegetable, all we need to do show you how to have your hands in order that you don't chop any of your fingers off. So the easiest thing to do is to shut your fingers like so, and then we're going to make a shield using the ends of our fingers just on the board here. You can practice this without veg. Also, we need to work out where our thumb's going to go, so our thumb should always be behind our fingers. And then the way it works is our fingers act as a guide. So when we're coming down to chop, we're using this part of our hand to safely guide the knife down. And if you do that, you're obviously going to cut your fingers. It isn't as difficult as it looks. Just practice like that. So we're going down, and the knife never touches the end of our fingers. Now, if you want to, you can move on, if you're happy with that. So I've got a carrot here. So the end of our fingers is the guide. So we're going to put it at the end of our piece of vegetable. And then our thumb at the back is just going to go and hold. So then we make our first cut. Just a nice slide movement downwards. Nice sharp knife, of course. You don't be afraid. And then if you want to start off slowly, see my fingers moving backwards? We're using that as the guide. So that also gives us how thick or thin we want our slices. And then if you want to, you can go faster. And there we go. Slices of carrot. Nice and easy. So step 2, we're going to do a little dice of carrot. Nice and easy. It just needs to be smaller, so we're not going to go for slices. We're going to cut in half first. Then, this is another great tip about slicing things like long vegetables such as carrots. When you're going down the middle, you want to come over the knife and then just very carefully down in the middle. I'll do that once more. So gripping, knife, and the hand over the knife, nice and slowly and carefully. What we want to do is actually do that again. So again, hands over, away from the blade. Away from the blade. Do that a couple of times just so you can see it. And then we're ready to dice. Now, using the same guide that we did last time, where our fingers are, we can then start to make a rocking motion like this. And you'll see it. I'll do it very quickly for you. You don't need to chop that quickly if you don't want to. But what I'm doing, again, is I am still creating that bridge. Doesn't matter about the size, my middle finger there is being the guide. So we come down in that kind of motion, using the finger as a guide. Go slowly, go fast, it's up to you, but do it safely. And then when you're confident, and you want to get things done quickly, you can go with a few at once. And again, you're using your finger at the end there as the guide, thumb behind the fingers, and rock it backwards and forwards. This takes a little bit of practice, but practice makes perfect, as we all know. So very soon, after you've had a nice slow go at it, you'll be getting very quick indeed. And you'll be racing through all the recipes on Cooking for Reps. Right, we're going to go to onions next. A little bit different because of the way that we're going to peel it and chop it. So, onions. Lovely. So, top and tail first. So, down, top bit, then through the bottom. I will just tell you an interesting thing about onions. The bit that makes you cry is actually the root. The inside of here, there is a chemical that releases, that actually is what makes you cry. So it always comes out of the root. So if you want to leave the root on so that you're not crying, I guarantee you, if you're chopping onions into slices, leave the root on and you won't be in tears. I don't know of any of these putting a spoon in your mouth or doing anything like that really works. A lot of the time you just get used to it. But it really all depends on the onion as well. Red onions tend to be a lot less strong, as do the very large white onions. But your standard brown onion, as these are, will usually make you cry, especially if they're a big one. These are little ones actually that I'm using for this demonstration, but they're very good. So we've chopped top and tail, we cut it in half, and then we peeled the first layer off, and we are left with all of that. So that's the easiest way to get that done. Now, if you're making stews and things like that, you might want to go in quite large chunks. Again, you see me when I chop, knife, hand over the top, and then down. And then if you want to go into a large chop, again, we're using our hands as the bridge, and we're just going to chop like that. So you've got some nice large pieces, good for stews and things like that. Smaller slices, which are normally good if you're doing burgers or things like that. Again, using your fingers as the guide, we go down and we just slice through like that. Nice and easy. If you then suddenly decide, actually, I want this diced up finely, put it together and then just give it a chop like so. As you can see, I'm using my fingers as a guide. And then, if you want it even smaller, we're going to practice another little skill, and that is essentially holding the knife on the top here and using this action, which goes in like this. So keeping your fingers on top of the blade all the time. This is good for things like garlic, or if you want a really, really small dice. As you can see, everything is getting smaller and smaller. So you see me with my fingers on the end. I'm going nowhere near that end. I'm only going on the top. And then I'm using that rocking action again. And everything just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you're doing soup or something like that and you haven't got a blender, this is a great way of doing it. Nice and carefully. Practice all of those. Keep going back over the video and you'll get better and better. I'm going to do another onion in a second just to give you a little bit more info on chopping onions. So, some more about chopping onions. This is going to be keeping the onion whole. Like I said, the root of the onion is where that nasty making you cry chemical comes out. But what I'm going to do is very carefully peel this because I'm going to do whole slices. Now whole slices are great no matter what the size of the onion. You can actually get a nice thick or thin, depending on how you like it, onion as well. Again, if you want it on for burgers or hot dogs or things like that, or even onion rings. One of my quick videos that's coming up in the future is going to be very quick things that you can do of an evening that don't take very long at all, sort of 10-minute meals. And one of them is going to be a really nice way to make battered onion rings. So in order to make battered onion rings, you need quite a thick onion ring. So you'll see I'm using a different skill here with the whole onion, where I'm holding it with the ends of my fingers. Again, you have to be really careful here. And a top tip for balance, if you're using round fruit, and obviously it's going to slide, or vegetables, is to actually just make a little nick out the bottom, and then it will stand. And then all you need to do is just hold on to it, like so. And then great thing about these layers of onion is if you just pop the middle out, they will all start coming out as well. And there you have some brilliant, ready for battering and then deep frying, delicious onion rings. It doesn't matter if they're a little bit cut from using the base one. Tasty. There we go. And there's loads of recipes online about onion rings as well, so have a look. But my one will obviously be delicious and tasty. And low fat as well. So it's not going to be a deep fried one. It's going to be an extra special one for those of you watching your figure. So there we go. That's onions pretty much. We're going to do a quick pepper as well because I want to just show you some more skills with these vegetables. And of course peppers and onions and things like that we use in a lot of recipes, particularly any of the stews that I told you about in previous videos. Your beef and red wine sauce and your curry, you can use things like peppers. So with the pepper, I'm just going to go around the outside at the top and then twist. And that should bring out most of that pip area here, all the white pips there. And then I'm going to take the bottom off, even though we're going to use probably 95% of this delicious pepper. Now, you've got an open-ended pepper. Whoops. So what you want to do is go down along the wall here, and I'm just going to cut into where this white bit is because I want to take that out. So you're then left with that kind of wall of pepper. The same down one side, as you can see. And again, the same. And we're left with that bit. Now we don't really want to eat this bit. Doesn't taste very nice in my opinion. Discard. You're left with the base and you're left with the top. Well, the top you could just chop around like so. Not very much wastage. And then you've got the whole bottom piece as well. So we can strip in julienne slices. These are very thin strips. So again, using your fingers as a guide, just come along the pepper as thin as you want. And these are called julienne. So this is julienne. We're slicing, dicing and julienning today. This is fantastic. So there you go. We've got julienne. Thin strips. Good for stir fries and things like that. I'll just show you once more. So again, along, holding it with your fingers, your thumbs behind your fingers, so we're not going to cut anything off. And then slice. Using sort of the tip of the knife to go through. So we use the tip of the knife when we're doing fine work like this. And then if we decide that we then want to chop them, we can use our rocking action, this action. With the back of the knife, hold firmly, chop, move your fingers back, keep your thumb out of the way, and there you go. So we've julienned and we've diced as well. And we can do that with all of these. If you want a rough chop, again, you can just go in with the back there. All different sizes, a julienne strip, a nice little dice and some chunks there. Lovely when it comes to peppers. So you can use stir fries, stews, and then anything else, a soup. A really good red pepper soup actually. I'm going to put that on. A really tasty thick red pepper soup. So there we go. Chopping and dicing and slicing and julienning. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the website as well, www.cookingforreps.com.